Hi, everyone. Welcome to Live with Blayne J, your weekly connection to people, brands, and businesses. Thank you so much for starting your Friday evening out here on Realish Radio. And if you haven't already, be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and download the Realish Radio app. Today we are talking to Tijay Mohammed. He is a Ghanaian artist who infuses his culture, his social consciousness, and his appreciation of women into most of the work that he does. Tijay has an awesome and amazing story, and I'm not even going to give even more of an introduction because I want him to come on right now so we can just dive right into it. Hi, Tijay.
Hi, Blayne. How have you been?
I'm good. I'm good. So I always like to start the interviews off with how I know the person. So
Mm,
TJ and I met in 2015. He was debuting his art. I don't know if this was your first debut.
yeah, it was the first of me taking a whole booth at Harlem Fine Arts Show.
So TJ had his own booth at Harlem Fine Arts Show, which is an annual event, an annual traveling art event that happens in New York City. I was there working public relations and we met, and he had such a great personality and his work was so good, and it was his first time debuting it anywhere, like with his own
Mm,
booth. So every day of the show, which was a couple days, I was like buying up his art. I just wanted to support him. So I was buying like all the pieces that I could buy to support him. And I just want to show you real quick before we get into the interview, because I told you I was going to try to find some stuff. So some of the
yeah.
stuff that I bought from you is actually framed. So I don't have that,
Mm,
but I have two pieces that are not framed that
yeah.
are now classics. So I told you, I think I have your
Oh,
sister. I
yeah,
have
yeah.
this
This
one,
Latifa. Yeah, that's
right?
Latifa.
So I
That's
have this, and I
yeah.
think it does say her
It,
name
mm-hmm.
down there.
Up a little. Yeah, that's Latifa.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
have this one
yeah.
that I bought, and I have another one that's not framed. So now I have to get them
Hmm.
framed because these are the
Yeah,
only
yeah.
two, and I think I bought like six. And then I have this one here.
Oh, yeah. This is my studio. The last studio I used in Ghana
I think
before
you
you
did.
met me.
You
Yeah.
put my studio, yes, and you and he put a personal message. I think this is so funny, so I'm just gonna read it. In appreciation of your immense contribution for the incessant purchases of my creations. So he put that at the bottom because I was so happy to support him, and I thought that your work was really great. So I have those two classics that are now vintage, one of a kind. Nobody else can get
Hmm.
them. Don't make them because I have them here, and they're
Okay.
probably going to be worth something.
Yeah, sure. The one with my sister is from a series called Black is Beautiful.
Okay.
So that series has ended, and all everybody who owns piece in it has it, and that's it. Unless if in future it would be used for any royalty program or anything or any product, but for now, that series has ended.
It's exclusive. Don't do it again. I
Yeah.
got the exclusive stuff. So I want you to kind of, we started at Harlem Fine Arts Show, but let's go
Hmm.
back like to 2013, because that's when
Yeah.
you first came here, or if you want to take it back a little bit further to talk
Hmm.
about how you got into art initially.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Thank you, all our viewers, and it's a great honor to be here. And I must also voice it out loud that this is a great healing process for me as well, with everything that is going on in the world. So thank you, Blaney, for having me on this program, and delighted to be on. And good evening to all viewers. Yeah, so in 2013, when I moved to the US, everything was very, very different for me. So I had to find ways of, for lack of better words, I would say adjusting to the situation. And that process took a long series of, conversation with artist friends, with friends, and it didn't end up to maybe somewhere 2016 when I had started works that were linking my lineage between my African identity and then my African American experience with the current climate of the US, where it keeps changing with black being oppressed and killing going on. So if you watch from 2016, my work changed a little bit and had a lot of social issues that I was tackling. from dealing with a lot of like women's issue, which I started back home in Ghana. Although home is not a physical space for me, I would always say back home is Ghana. Yeah, and it was very easy for me to associate myself with New York. By 2014, when I settled in New York, I started doing story circles with friends. And through that, I get to learn a lot about the US and how to approach my art. I did a lot of volunteering, so I would advise every immigrant artist who enters a new space to do a lot of volunteering, because not only are you giving back to society, but you are also taking back from society and learning the process of where you find yourself in. And yeah, I started from PA. State College, where my godmother is from, Professor Emeritus Grace Hampton. In my latest series, which I'm sure we'll talk about, Pride of My Village, I'm featured her in it as well. And at some point, I would go in to show you my latest project. This is exclusive on your show. This will be the first time I'm showing my new studio to the public and for you to see the two pieces that I'm currently working on, which is tied around our conversation about children, and then directly it is to my daughter. So I started doing my women's project from my mom, inspiration from my mom. Then now I'm going into with my daughter. So I'm mapping her process of growing with the little experience that she had in America before she went to Ghana. And then, we'll talk about it later.
We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna touch up on it. But
Yeah.
before so I want you to kind of take us back a little bit, because art is not something that I don't want to say that you were aspiring to be an artist, but it's not something that your family was like, okay, go out there and be an
Mm,
artist. They would have wanted you to do something else, but it was really your mom who kind of like fostered this
mhm.
craft that you wanted to do and pushed you to do it. So tell
Yeah.
me a little bit more about the role that your mom played, because that's
Mm,
really important with your work. A lot of your work celebrates women because you
yeah.
had this strong woman in your life who pushed you to find your
Mhm.
passion.
Yeah, yeah. In when before entering into art college, I had a little bit of I will always call it shift, on and off with relationship between religion and my profession. So some of my relatives saw it as it's rather you choose religion or you choose profession, but my mom didn't see it that way. And one might ask, what was my dad doing at that time? But my dad had already finished his backlash from society about how all Muslim kids in my family, like the boys, went to a boarding school, which was a Roman Catholic, when we were 100% Muslim. So my dad was very slow on that. He was very supportive. My goal was to go into civil engineering, but because I had to go back to another boarding school, my dad was like, no, just think about what you want to do. And family distraction, my mom just came out with a way I translate that in modern terminology is like she voiced out saying, whoever has a problem with me should either talk to her and leave me alone. So that stuck in my mind. And the way she put it, it was in a friendly way and a very casual way. But everybody got that message like somebody who was standing on a podium. And it's just like imagine something like the 1963 march or 1965 with Martin Dr. King, how powerful and energetic that was. And that was my drive. So by
It's
the
like it's
time
like
I
called Mama Bear. It's like she went into Mama Bear mode. Like they
yeah.
say with bears, they always protect their cubs. So it
Mhm.
sounds like your mother basically stood up and was like, "You have a problem with what TJ wants to do. You have a problem with me. So you come see me
Mm.
about this. You don't come see
Yeah.
TJ about this. You come see
Uh-huh.
me." And nobody
Yeah.
wanted to deal with that, I'm sure. So your
Yeah.
mother
Yeah.
got all
Yeah.
like mama bear on everybody. So
And
that's what that
yeah.
is.
Yeah, and the thing is just misconception about Islam being haram in her art. And, this is a whole topic on its own. I've done a lot of projects to inspire youth going into art because it's my own personal story. And I know what we go through as creatives to be able to cross that bridge of religion and profession. Yeah, so after that, in 2013, when I wanted to do, when I started thinking about all the women around me, because 2003 to 2010, I was always making a special piece to my mom in her name, either going to her collection or I sell it and the proceeds goes to her. But for 10 years of doing that, I taught a lot of women are doing amazing things in the world, especially Africa and my community. So, I had three sisters. By then, biologically, I have three sisters within the home. I've seen how they are all thriving, some of them married, and then what they are also doing, their contribution to society. I wanted to celebrate all women. So that series, I first started calling it Celebration of Women is Endless. So when you read the first statement of it, and I have a post on Facebook somewhere in 2013 where you will see the very first post I did to start this project, where I explained that this is something I've been doing for my mom, but now I'm thinking about other women in my life. And people were just contributing and adding names of people they want to see in my project. And that has been a core component of my work as audience are collaborators for me. Yeah.
That's so amazing
Mhm.
because so first of all, you had this foundation from your mom who really
Mhm.
set the tone for you to
Yeah.
have a strong woman in your life who's going to really nurture you and push you forward. And then you were like, hey, I have these sisters and my sisters are also really awesome. So I'm
Mhm.
going to paint them like you saw. If you're just
Yeah.
joining, I have a picture of his sister. And so you had, I remember at the art show in 2015, I think that was the series that you had, and you
Yeah.
were allowing people to add names of women
Mhm.
that they found inspirational, or that
Yeah.
they wanted to add to this wall. So you
Yeah.
kind of started your artwork with that, and then it's evolved. So take us
Mm.
now from 2000. So you came here 2013. You
13.
did the art show in 2015, and then
Mhm.
what happened after that? Because this is my first time actually seeing you live since
Yeah.
2015. So I actually want to
Yeah.
know what's been going on from 2015 until then.
Yeah, since then, so 2015, I did a lot of grants application, and I was also doing a lot of studying, like short courses in various fields. In health, I was doing something in health. I was doing something in like grant writing. I was doing non-for-profit administration. I was just doing little bit of things just to have a structure as for my own studio. So I applied for a lot of grants and I had the support of the Laundromat project, which is in now the office is moving to Brooklyn, but it used to be in Harlem. And then the Bronze Council on the Art is a very, very huge support of my work since the time we met. So I had the first time I had two grants, which I used for a project called Art in the Mosque. So me being having a religious clash on becoming an artist, I designed a project to inspire youth going into art and also to advocate in the mosque saying art is not haram. So that project was supported by the Bronze Council on the Art. Since then, it has been just work after work, grants, commission, and I'm very grateful for the communities that have supported me, especially you. When the first time you saw me, that was the first time I was representing my work. So in order to see my next minute in my career it's something I cherish a lot. And I always say the first few people who met me in my career are the ones that I adore their relationship and I adore their words, because that was if today let's just say I'm selling 10,000 and 5,000, these were people who met me and spent $2 on an art piece from me because they saw that I would be getting into the thousands and millions. So that relationship is what I adore, and I see them as my family. I have one collector who bought a lot of originals from that same series you have. I think she's the one who had the original, and we talk like sisters, just like I talk with you, because I cherish that moment, and passionately I'm telling you thank you for believing in that dream that I'm still unfolding. And so it's series after series. I work a lot with series because it gives me a broader view of the topic that I want to. So, Black is beautiful. I'm looking at women around me. I'm looking at women that the hairstyle inspire me, women that have stories, women that I want to document in my piece. And if you watch my approach to that pen, I keep expressing the freedom in it. So, in a way, I'm referencing Jackson Pollock in a way from the beginning process, where I read his action and movement as freedom. So here I'm expressing that freedom within me onto the canvas before I bring out the image, saying this woman is powerful, she's joyful, she's Black, she's beautiful. What do you think about her? And I leave it to the audience. Yeah.
So when you're because you use a lot of mixed material with your work,
Mhm.
you do painting, you talked about painting on the canvas. Sometimes you get materials like physical materials. I know that you over COVID did some work with mask. You've done work with
Mhm.
like Metro cards. So can you kind of go into the actual components of your art, like what
Mm.
makes up your art? It's like a mixed media.
Yeah, yeah. I unconsciously was thinking about the environment and how to contribute to all the changes that is affecting the environment. So I use a lot of recycle, and instead of using a vast material like different or about six, seven materials, I would focus on one or two, work on it for a long time to create huge pieces, most of which are installations. Out of the installations, then I make individual pieces. So in MetroCard, I was looking at, so we go back when the fabric, I was mapping and celebrating the vital role women play in our society. How do I do that? I was thinking of what is attached to the human body and what my surroundings respect a lot. We respect fabric, we respect symbols. So I research in the symbols and I collect scraps of fabrics when I started traveling everywhere, Trinidad, Nigeria, Ghana, here in the US, in everywhere. And people were also donating the fabric. All of this fabric, I'm not buying them. I'm collecting it out of generosity from my viewers and collaborators. So I used that to create the installations. Out of the installations, then came Welcome Home series, where I'm referencing Marcus Garvey's Back to Africa, and also a title of a very powerful song in Ghana called Welcome Home by 1970. It was written in 1975 by a group called Osibisa. So there's reference to that. And politically, it is addressing the issue of France taking out the crafts from Africa and saying we are taking it back. And up to now, nothing has been uh, taken back besides the sword of one of the sheikh, and I think his Quran. So all of there's some components of politics in it. Then from there, I move on to back to the women's series, but this time I'm referencing Quran, the Holy Quran, where I took the title An-Nisa, which is a whole chapter dedicated to women, where it talks about the hierarchy of women and their position in society and how we should treat women versus how we are treating women. Then it goes back on a broader way to talk about inheritance, to talk about community, humanity, And so that is where I reference last year I think it was in Katona Museum. So out of that, I also came out with Pride of Our Village. So I'm moving from one to another, but all of these are scraps of fabrics, Metro card. And with the Metro card, I was thinking about documenting the commute, my own commute in New York City. So since 2013, when I got to the US, I spent a few weeks in New York, went to State College. Then when I came back, I started collecting them. Metro card, didn't know what to do with it. I was just mapping my own journey, buying the cards every day, and I saw it everywhere. So I'm thinking, why
Wait a
wouldn't
minute, you bought all those cards in your series? Because you could find
no,
Metro cards laying around the subway
no, no,
all the
no,
time.
not all the. I started by keeping the ones that I bought.
Oh, because I'm like, there's a lot of Metro cards in
Oh,
that
that's
series, and you could
over
go
3,000.
for free now and find
Yeah,
them littered all over the subway.
yeah,
Okay, okay, good.
um,
Just want to make
yeah.
sure.
I started with my own. Then I saw it everywhere. Then I'm thinking, wow, why wouldn't like this be recycled? Then I started collecting them. So I started collecting it, collecting stories, talking with people. All that while I didn't know what to do with it. Up to now, I have over 4,000 Metro cards. In the
Oh my
three
gosh.
pieces you see, there are about 4,000. One of them I know is 1,500, the one that has the mirrors in it. And then a component of it is to know what, mapping New York City is big with people coming in and out. So this is a way mapping the nostalgia of place and time. Every New Yorker who sees this card has a memory about it. And the good thing for me collecting, as you mentioned, collecting it on the floor in the subway, I sometimes find some like 2 or 3 days out of an unlimited card.
You
And
find
sometimes,
some
yeah,
you
yeah.
so for anybody who's watching that's not from New York, that's not familiar, a Metro card is basically the card that you get when you want to ride the train, and you put your money on the card, however much money you want to
Mm,
put on it, and you swipe it. And so that's how you ride the bus and the subway system in New York City. But
mhm,
sometimes what happens, and I know I've been guilty of this too, is I may have like 25 cents on my Metro card or something. And so
mhm.
I'm like, I'm not riding the subway. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
like toss it. And so
I
I'm
collect
one of
it.
those people. I'm like, whatever. There's a pile on the subway. Let me
Yeah,
just like toss
yeah.
it. And so what TJ is saying is that, sometimes you luck up and you find these Metro cards. You're like, let me try to
Mhm.
swipe them. And sometimes you will come up on some fare, like a fare on it.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And the good thing about it is if I find your 25 cents on it, I find like a lot of cards, I can give all to the guy at the vending machine and they put everything on one card. So I end up
Ah.
yeah. So when I realize that they do that, when I collect the card, I have to go and check. And I will put everything, the ones that had little coins in it, for them to put all on one ride or one single card.
And now
And
TJ can
I'll
go
go.
all throughout the city from all this. He's able to ride all over the place from finding
Yeah.
these cards. And for anybody on here, as we're talking, if you want to see TJ's work while we're talking, your website, it's Art of TJ, Tijay. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. Out of
It
Tijay.com.
.com.
Yeah.
So this MetroCard stuff we're talking about and some of the other work he's done are available on his website now for you to view. So your work
Mhm.
has evolved so much because, like I said, when I first met you, it was canvas paintings and there was some mixed material as well. I remember you having like a big kind of I don't want to say quilt, but almost like a wall where people were
Mhm.
adding names. And so you've kept that up because you take physical things like the Metro cards, you took the mask, you did a series with the mask. What is your favorite kind of work to do? Like your favorite kind of pieces to do
Uh,
or to create, I should say.
yeah. I think I don't know, but it's mostly each of my piece that has portraits in it. That is my favorite because in painting a portrait, I have a lot of dialogue with the image that I'm painting. But when you talk of favorite material, I would say I've enjoyed the fabric a lot. for about for about 5 7 years. I've enjoyed the fabric, and now I'm moving to paper. So, and I'm enjoying the paper as well because I'm collecting it from everywhere I go. So the history that I see on the paper, and of late, each of the one that I see has some message about COVID. So I think it's very powerful for me because it's sort of documenting the moment that we are in, and there is information. And some of these messages would also be a newspaper that is talking about Black oppression, about social justice issues, about somebody's comment, somebody's quote. So currently, I'm enjoying the paper, but material-wise, it is the fabric. Yeah, the one that looked like the quilt that you saw. Yeah, it's glue. It's fabric scraps with glue, just an ordinary Elmer's glue. I give it about 25 water, so it's 75 of the glue and 25 water. Then I just soak everything in it and start working with. How working with the hand is what made it very, very uh that process itself, it's very, what is the word where like drawing the mandala symbols. Because the more I look at the symbols, I think about what it means and how people misinterpret it. And I think about who wore the fabric, and I think about where this fabric is going. What is the kind of statement that people see from this fabric? So fabric has been the best so far.
Now, I want to get into your latest work, which is also an inspiration to you. You mentioned
Mm,
that your latest work, of course, is celebrating women, and some of those women that you're celebrating are your little daughter, who is
mm,
about 3 years old. So, can you
yeah.
tell more about your latest work? Because you already said you're dropping the exclusive on here, so we're ready for it. All right, you already said
Yeah,
it.
so the very latest work, we're gonna be talking, and I'll go inside.
Let's travel.
And
Let's go.
okay,
It's a
cool.
nice day in New York. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So the very latest one is here. So here, these ones are paper. Okay. So maybe when I go back.
I can see.
Yeah.
That's like your whole
Okay.
wall. Does that take up your whole
Yeah, so
wall?
it takes a whole wall, but it's two pieces. The first one here is 50 by 40, and then this one here is 70, maybe 70 by 50. Yeah,
Wow.
that's this one here. And when you go closer with this here, let me get some more light.
It looks like little girls playing in a, are they in a
Yeah,
pool?
yeah, so they're all like my family here, and this is the one that inspired the process here.
Is
That's
that one your daughter?
yes.
Uh,
So by the time I finish, I'm going to add the details to draw, and then it would come out with acrylic. So everything you see here, it's glued paper, scraps of paper on the canvas. And when you read close, there's this, I think is from McDonald's, the
I
and
see.
stuff. Yeah, so if you read, and this one here, I think is from a recharge company, credit fuel, so you would read through. This is also O'Reilly, which is a company like auto parts. And then here you just see price tags. So they're just,
Wow.
and then you see food somewhere up there. Yeah.
There's so much detail that I
Uh-huh.
did not even notice when you were zoomed out. You couldn't even see. That's
Yeah, you
amazing.
couldn't see it when
And
I had
somebody put,
more
wow,
light
that's
here.
amazing. It is amazing.
Yeah, so this is a picture of me when she was in the US. This is in the Bronx of me reading for her. So, but it would come out. I'm gonna do the details of it. If you notice, I haven't posted all like these ones on my Instagram. pages. Yeah, and this is a book I received from a very good friend who is a poet, a writer, and also an artist, Janelle. And maybe our viewers might know it. It's a book from Mofuro, if you know these Mofuro's beautiful daughters.
Oh, I have to look
Yeah,
that
so
up
that
now.
is, yeah, that's what I was reading for her. And my friend gave me that with a message in it, a very long
Oh,
message.
your friend wrote a book on top of the book. That's a whole
Yeah,
message.
that's the whole message. Yeah, that's Janelle. So when I was reading this book for, sorry about the noise.
No,
Yeah,
no, no,
when I
you're
was
fine. You're
reading
fine.
this, my uncle took a photo, this picture, and I was like, okay, I'm going to use this for the series. So you will see some of the photos are just ordinary. You know, sometimes how you just take ordinary photos and they're not perfect. That is what I love about this. And here, this is a one of those books or catalogs I would just pick from the Bronx. It's Riverdale, like kind of newsletter. And then, yeah, I'll just use that. And this is one part that I like with all the price tag and you know so how they throw newspapers and advertising
It's like a
pages.
supermarket, like when you go in the
Super,
supermarket and they give you the circular,
they
like what's
give you
on
the
sale for
circular.
that day.
Yeah. So those that is what I put in the back for this series. So it's just a bunch of different scraps of paper that also map where I'm I visited, because here you can see Snellville. Here you will see somewhere the Bronx. When you move elsewhere, you see something about South Florida. So these are various. You just need to see it in person.
You know,
Yeah,
I can already see that you find art in so many things. You found art in
yeah,
a McDonald's wrapper. You found art
mhm,
in a supermarket circular. Like, I mean,
yeah.
you have a vision because the rest of us are here tossing it away, and you're able
Mhm,
to take it and make it a background. You made it into like bathing suits in the picture.
mhm.
There's so much amazing detail. What do you want me to send you? I want to send you. You want paper? I'll send you whatever. You know, I support you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
I
looking
just
for
would.
Metro cards now. I'm gonna be in the subway looking for
Yeah,
Metro cards.
for MetroCard, Fabric, papers. You know, sometimes these companies would also send you magazines which you mistakenly subscribe for, or sometimes they will just leave it in your mailbox and say current residents. So all of that, I'm collecting all of those. And there are times I also visit supermarket or offices where you find people dropping letters. I collect them. And what I've noticed is that the glossy ones give more bold colors. So what I'm doing here is the ones that have the text. For the text, it's only newspaper that I use.
I
Only
didn't
the
even
newspaper.
realize that was newspaper. Okay, I see it
Yeah,
now
that
with
is.
the
So I
close
use
up.
the newspaper for that, and then I will use the glossy part for it. So this is what Wendy's. This is some kind of food. Yeah.
I'm going to get you stuff today. I'm going to put something on
Yeah.
Instagram about if anybody
Mhm.
wants to donate, and people are just going to send you stuff because the detailing in it and the way that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
take this
Mhm.
and make it art is amazing, TJ. I see Michelle
Yeah.
Obama.
Yeah. So what? Yeah, I found this in one of the things, and on the original book, it's this one of my first daughter. You see, she's watching a mirror. So I'm looking at this as translated into modern technologies of how little girls are being inspired by the elderly generation for whatever they want to be. And you, as you can see, this is an inspiration that came from a 3-year-old's life. So I'm imagining her looking at a picture of Michelle Obama and the thousands and millions of black kids who are looking to all of these role models, even like you also, all those looking at them. And once all these kids are being inspired, the outcome of it is what we see in the White House, where we have Kamala Harris, and we have millions of them in different corporations. But because women are less celebrated, You don't hear of them like you hear of the men. So this
There,
is, yeah.
there's a question. Is it called, and I could be pronouncing this wrong, is it called decoupage technique?
Decoupage technique. Yeah, so it might be, but what some of these techniques I work on them based on the African terminologies of how they say each one teach one, where it's a proverb about it. So it might be this is the technique name, but one thing we should also know is that learning a lot from Africa, we have a lot of techniques and cultures and ways of doing things that have no modern terminologies but are very indigenous. So in this one here, I'm not using scissors. Everything here you see is ripping. It's myself ripping the paper and pasting it.
That's
I
some
don't want.
precise ripping. Do you see that
Yeah.
hairline? Do you see your hairline on there? That is super
Yeah.
precise.
Yeah. So if I would have to research. Oh, I see it here from Don Kelly. Yeah, I would also research to know the exact name, but I don't rely on modern terms to do it because the series you saw in 2015 was inspired. The technique was inspired by a group of women from a village in Ghana called Sirigu, where women come together to make art as a form of livelihood. These women have been doing this long ago before all these terms like collage, even to study in a university. There, like in Africa, we have so many ways of getting doctorate and PhD degrees before you even go into the classroom. So these are places where I pay attention to learn from. Behind you, the wall. So that was what I was mimicking. You see the brick arrangement. It's a communal labor, kind of, when people in the village are building walls. So this is a technique where everybody come together to help in doing it. But when you go into modern technologies, then you will see the names. Sometimes what this does, it erases the African appreciation. And all we see is that maybe a French might give it a name and then it will look like French. So whoever is doing it, they say we are looking at the French when they're
But it
doing it.
really was African.
But it
Yeah.
really was African. Like Picasso now, if you find an African do cubism painting, they say, oh, he's inspired by Picasso. But when you go back to it, Picasso was inspired by Africa to do what he's doing. So why would you and I do cubism and we'll be associated to Picasso? So it's rather Picasso that should be associated to our great grandparents. You see, yeah, but because they
Let them
didn't have
know.
name,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, let them know.
and we all are humans, and what humans do is we give name to the nameless. But there are times when we are supposed to dig into the core to find out. In Arabic, we say lubbu lubbu, to know what is inside the seed of the seed. They don't make us go inside the seed of the seed. So they make us stay on the shell of the egg before we get to the abdomen. And we are the ones in the yolk. And the yolk is what produces the real meat that we eat in chicken. So sometimes they make us ignore that part. So what Kelly mentioned is something that I would also go and research on. And when I was thinking about this technique here, I wasn't thinking about a technique that would be that was or is in the books, but I'm thinking about the liberation and the social justice movement and how Black is like being oppressed. So there is a moment of free. There is a moment of anger, and sometimes you have to say it loud before people hear, because not everybody you see with the ear can hear you. So this act of resistance is what I am mimicking versus thinking about a technique or paper mache it could be a paper mache, it could be a carving, but I'm thinking about what I'm doing, so which is the action. So the action is what supersedes the technique versus just the technique. Yeah, I agree. Everything was stolen
You see
from
the comment.
Africa, but yeah, I see the comment. Yeah.
Where can we find your work, TJ? And now we probably, can't even afford it. Some of us can't afford it, like me. For anybody who's just tuning in, I'm gonna show them the pieces real quick, and then you let us know where you can find your work.
Okay.
But TJ and I met in 2015 when he was debuting his art for the first time. So I bought like several pieces, but these are two that I have that are not framed, which I showed earlier on the live. So this one is his. Let me see how to do this. This is his studio, what his studio looked like back in Ghana. So I bought this piece, and then I also bought this one of his sister, which was part of his celebration of women. I just thought that it was a beautiful image. So I bought this one, and I'm happy to support you. So please tell all of us how we can support you, where we can find your work, so I can start saving up for the next piece now.
Yeah, we can find it on Art of TJ, artoftj.com, ARTOF
Yes, that's when.
TIJAY. So this is the current series, and luckily, this is the same lady who gave me the book.
Oh, you did a piece on her. That's so
Yeah,
nice.
because in this series, what I'm doing is I'm representing our identity on the dollar bill as a form of respect and also honoring our position in culture.
And this is the current series because I've seen on Instagram, and you can
Yeah.
also follow him on Instagram at Art of TJ, ARTOFTIJAY, artoftj.com. And you can,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, artoftj.com, and also Art of TJ on Instagram, where you have a lot of these posted. So this one is a $50 bill. Is this one Taraji?
Yeah, Taraji.
Okay, this is his
Yeah.
work of Taraji P.
And
Henson.
this one
So
is somebody who sent her name. So in this series, as we watch, everybody could drop their comment, and I'm going to add. The initial idea was to do 100 women on 100, like 100 different dollar bills. But then I have a lot now, over 100. So the series is going to continue.
So are you saying that if anybody wants their image and likeness depicted on money, they need to contact you so that you can do that work?
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
hope everyone watching heard that. So if you would like TJ to put you
Include you in the
his,
series.
yes, which he has on Instagram, put you on a crisp $50, $100, let him know exactly. Yes, he did Kamala. Did he do one of Kamala? Somebody asked.
Yeah, I did
Yes.
two different Kamal. I did one of the Kamala on the, I mean, her current 100 age, and I did one of her when she was about 5.
Yes,
But
I think I saw.
yeah, the one of her was about 5 is already collected by Hudson River Museum. So yeah, so
Wow.
the Kamala at 5 and Ruby Bridges, both pieces are collected by the museum. So I'm sure they will later publish it, but this is again on your radio.
Listen, let me tell you something. Everybody's going to be flooding your DMs now to ask if they can have a piece. So what do they do? Do they just send a picture of themselves and tell you that this is what they want?
Yeah, you send me a picture of a woman that you want to honor or of yourself. The age doesn't matter, or anybody's name. If the person is already like a public figure, you can send the name or your favorite picture. And what I'm doing with this series is I'm including all these names and photographs onto it, because and the person, one more important thing, the person has to be a person of color, black, indigenous, or person of color. And a woman,
And it can be
whoever identifies.
themselves. It can be
Yeah, it could be
themselves. Yeah.
themselves.
It could be
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah,
I'm sending you
yeah,
one. Now I have to, after this live, I'm
yeah,
going to try to take a nice selfie, and I'm going to send it to you. I think a lot of people are going
yeah.
to be sending you stuff.
Yeah, it could. And I know the one of Hafsat, who is my daughter, is already also collected in the same collection of The Black is Beautiful. There's some few people who have been following the series and making sure they have at least one or two into their collection. So it's all about women. In a way, I'm not trying to let you have or forcing people to understand the role that women play, but I'm only bringing it as a dialogue for us to think about it, go back into creation, go back into our first crib, which is in in the womb, in whose womb. And when you reference the Quran chapter and Nisa talks about the hierarchy of women, referencing the womb and then giving respect to the womb. So that is what I'm doing here. And as it evolves, you look around you, these are the same people who bear the womb that we came from. Yeah. I know you want to come in. Come and say hello.
Hi, this your son?
Yeah.
It's all good. TJ, I could have you on here for another hour. We're gonna have to wrap it up, but
Yeah.
I want you to come back because I feel like we have so much more to talk about. I would love for you to come back. Anyone who's a past guest is always welcome to
Yeah.
come back because the information that you're giving and just your artwork is just so amazing. And if your son wants to come say hi, he's too shy. I don't know if he ran off.
Oh, Tijan. No. Say hi.
Hi. Hi, how are you? How are you? How old are you?
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, how old are you?
4.
You're 4? Did you have a good day?
Yes,
You did? Tell me something you did today.
I did is called pizza.
You had pizza? Can I have some pizza? I'm hungry. Yes, okay. I'm coming to get
Okay.
pizza.
Just coming to get pizza.
We're gonna get some pizza.
Okay.
I'm coming to get some pizza because I'm gonna eat after this. He's like, okay. No, this is great. Next time you come on the show, TJ's daughter is gonna come on as well, and we're all gonna talk to your son and your daughter.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You can go play. I'll be
before
satisfied.
I'm coming to get some pizza, TJ. Were you in the Bronx? I'm coming to get some pizza.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. Rush hour is almost over. But before we end, I want you to just give any thank yous or shout outs or recognitions that you want to give to anyone now.
Yeah. The first goes to my mom, all the viewers, to you, and everyone. There's a lot of names, but everyone who has contributed to the process of me becoming an artist and then staying as an artist and continuing my journey as an artist. I really appreciate and say thank you. And also to those that I'm meeting today, it's nice meeting you. It's great meeting you. Let's just continue the relationship. It's great having you all.
I thank you, TJ. I want to thank you because for anybody who joined later, TJ and I met in 2015 when he was debuting his art. I was working public relations at that event for a couple days, and I thought that it was just so great that he's just starting out. So big shout out to you because you started out there. I remember I took like a picture of you and the picture was like so nice and he started using that picture. I just took it on the phone and he started using that picture like to publicize himself, and you've just blown up so much since then. Your work has evolved. You're so socially conscious with the way that you go about your pieces. You really put a lot of yourself into it. So I just want to say thank you to you and give you a big shout out. And for anybody that wants to connect with TJ, because now everybody's going to send you their pictures to put on the money.
Yeah.
You can connect with him on Instagram. Art of TJ, ARTOFTIJY. TJ is TIJAY. I'm sorry.
AY, yeah.
On Instagram, and I'm gonna have another post that I'll put up later with all of your contact information if anybody wants to reach out. So I just want to thank you so much, TJ. This has been so great. You have to come back. You have to come back sometime this summer.
Yeah, sure.
And yes. And thank you. And Dawn Kelly, who's a past guest as well. Shout out to Dawn Kelly of the Nourish Spot and all the past guests that are on here. And I'm going to just have you wait like 2 seconds. We're going to end the show, but just wait like 2 seconds. We do like a quick talk back afterwards. And everyone who watched, thank you for watching. And we will see you next week. Thank you so much, TJ. Just hold on for 1 second.
Hi guys, I'm Kalia.
I'm Salita.
And we want to welcome you to our new podcast called Sisters Talking Ish on the Real Ish Radio Network.
So download the app at realishradiolapp.com. And you can also watch us on Facebook and YouTube and listen to the audio on all streaming platforms. Hope you guys check us out soon.